Hello, everyone. My name is Nick. I am a third year resident. Today, I wanted to make a video about night shift. I absolutely hate night shift. So, I wanted to make a video about how to survive, what I've done to survive, and what you can do to have a better experience than I have had on night float. First thing is night shift, night float, whatever you want to call it, is not fun. I mean, some people they do really well in the night. I have one colleague that would take my night shifts if he could because he really likes it and he likes to stay up at night. For me, like my circadian rhythm is very important. I feel great when I go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time, have my routine. And I feel like night shift rips apart all routines. What can you do to kind of help yourself on night shift? Do not neglect the basics. So I think it's very easy to not drink a lot on night float, to not eat correctly, to eat kind of terrible foods. So really just focusing in on the basics. So try to get sleep during the day. Try to get 7, 8 hours during the day. I know that can be really hard for a lot of people. Um, Eating well, drinking enough water. These are the most important things. Like don't neglect those. Don't neglect other areas of your life, spirituality, your relationship with God, family, friends. It's so tough when you're up at night alone and then you go home and then you got to sleep and then you go back. Definitely extremely isolating. So trying to, even when you wake up before going in, just hanging out, going on a walk with family and friends, doing what you would normally do. I would say another big tip on night float is, for me, I had a hard time like sleeping on night shift. If I did have like an hour or two break and nothing was going on, there's no way I was falling asleep. And I think that comes with experience, right? So, where I work, there's stroke codes that happen overnight. Between like 2 and 3 a.m., there's not very much. But when I was like a PGY 2, I was so afraid that there would be something and I'd be sleeping through it and things like that. So I think it comes with experience. And then recently I had a night shift. I was able to get like a tiny little nap in here or there when I could, but it was still hard. So napping when you can on night shift, I think is important because it helps get you restarted. Use caffeine appropriately. So for me, I would kind of wait a little bit into the night shift, maybe like an hour to have some caffeine. When it came to like 3 or 4, I want to stop because you don't want the caffeine to be like fully in your system when you're trying to go to bed at like 8 a.m., 9 a.m. One other thing that I do that's been pretty helpful is after my night shift in my hospital, they have like a decent breakfast. I go and I'll get a big breakfast. That way, one, I'm able to miss some traffic, and two, I'm able to like go home and just shower and go to bed. I don't have to think about making food. I just have to think about like driving home safely and going into bed. For those of you that live far away, I live pretty far from my hospital, so night shift it's actually much worse because I'm going with traffic. It's kind of a mess. But most important thing is safety. Trying to stay safe after being up all night while driving home, and this is really serious. This are a lot of residents and medical professionals get in accidents and can be really devastating. If and when you do feel tired, pull over, take a nap, go into a hotel and get a room and sleep for 4 or 5 hours and go back if you have a long drive. It's honestly not worth it. And I've had one of my co-residents really tell me that, and I've experienced this on night shift, like driving home and feeling like absolutely terrible and just wanting nothing but to do but to close my eyes. So just take it seriously, pull over, go drink something sugary, blast the AC, anything you really could do to feel to get awake. Some programs you're with a bunch of people on nights. In my program in particular, you're basically by yourself. So it's think about it this way: it's the dead of winter, it's dark all the time. You're up all night by yourself. This goes on for 2 weeks where I train, and by the end of it, it's like you're not thinking clearly, you're not feeling right because you haven't really seen people, you're kind of alone and isolated. So in those instances, one thing that's helped me is just kind of reflecting like this is temporary. This is how you usually feel on nights, and I know a lot of people feel the same way because you don't have community and there's not many people to talk to. So really trying to like call your family, friends, go to church, things like that when you have your day off. use that day off like so well. Mind, body, spirit, rejuvenate yourself. So spirit, go to church, pray, do what you need to get yourself right with God. Body, work out really hard. For me, that's like a nice long run or a really big lift. And then mind, maybe do something active with your mind. Do some reading, do some studying, because it's going to be really hard. I know people do it, but I don't know how they do it. Study on night float. For me, night float is about getting through it, and that's about it. Trying to study, like, don't push yourself. Recognize, like, hey, be good to yourself. This is like a hard rotation. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really wish you the best on your night shift, and we'll get through it together.